Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode 336 for the week of December 12th, 2017. My name's Ryan Higgins. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Sager.
And Charlie. Just kidding. Llama Rep Pajama, it's Bryce.
Oh, God, I thought we
And
killed
Toby.
that.
Well,
No, this is Scott.
Scott, move your microphone a little closer, dude. Thank you.
This is Scott.
You're not Toby, so you don't have to keep it that far
Not
away.
Toby.
You're in the laugh till you're wet yourself seat.
Whoa.
That was pretty good.
Charlie's on his way. He should be here soonish, I think. Toby will be joining us. Well, I don't know. Maybe this episode, maybe not for a few weeks. We're recording a couple in advance because we're going to be gone, or I'm going to be gone for holiday stuff, and we got some crap going on. So we're going to be doing regular episode.
I can't wait to read Metal 4 before you.
Next week we have our best of comic list, which we're going to be talking about our favorite comics of the year. So a week ago, I asked everyone to put up their favorite comics in the Facebook group. So those of you that did, thank you. We're going to talk about those in a bit, but that's not until next week. Sorry, guys. And actually, this episode is going up late because our books are stuck in L.A. So
they're not stuck in L.A. now.
Well, they're on their way, but I could stay at the store till me and Brock could stay at the store till fucking midnight tonight to deal with all our comics. So
no, we can stay at the store till midnight to get
them comics.
Now we have to figure out how fast we can process those motherfuckers.
Here till 2 a.m. just for you guys.
Fuck me.
It's fine. It's fine. We got a bunch of random crap to talk about this week.
When do we not have random crypt to talk about?
I don't know. Oh, you know what sucks is we're going to be doing our. Normally, we would have sales charts, but we don't.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Sales charts haven't gone up.
Sales charts.
Yeah, I don't know. Sales charts are late. The only thing I can assume is that means that DC beat Marvel in the sales charts, and they're delaying it because that's what happens every time DC beats Marvel in the sales charts.
Doubtful.
Yeah, well.
That Marvel tells Diamond, like, hey, why don't you release those on a busy news day?
Slow your roll, yeah. Let's put somebody in the hospital real quick and and divert the news.
Yes, let's triple check the numbers before we release this. So I'm not joking either. It
was funnier when you were joking.
We'll do the November sales charts some point. I don't know when. Maybe we'll do November and December all at the same time for kind of end of year wrap up. So anyway, speaking of being in the hospital, Brian Michael Bendis, comic book writer for Marvel and now DC, and arguably one of the biggest guys in comics, nearly died of a it's called MRSA, right?
Yeah, MRSA.
It's what do they call it?
It's methicillin-resistant staph aurealis. It's basically
it's staph infection.
It's a staph infection that
yeah.
penicillin can't kill.
I don't actually know what a staph infection is. It's just like a viral infection,
nasty
right?
thing.
Yeah, staph infection. A lot of people get like little ones. You'll get this little you can get a little one on a cut.
Pimples?
Yeah, they look like pimples.
Yeah.
And then if they open up, it'll spread if not cared for.
It's like infected or something.
And it'll big gaping hole. It'll eat. It's basically a flesh-eating bacteria.
Yeah.
You look like a Morlock.
Okay. Well, what the? Whoa. Brian Michael Bendis had a MRSA infection that nearly blinded him and almost killed him and put him in the hospital for like a week, I believe. And actually, as of today, he's back in the hospital. He got another infection. He got like a relapse, so he's back in the hospital as of the recording.
So he'll have it the rest of his life.
Yeah.
He'll have to deal with it.
Well,
Wait, what? Is that how it works?
Yep.
Well,
moly.
MRSA, I've dealt with MRSA.
No.
Yeah.
Like you, or you've dealt with it in a family member?
Family member, and I've had it.
Okay.
So basically what it happened is there used to be two strands. There used to be hospital and then communal. Well, it became more prevalent in hospitals when they changed from copper door handles to stainless steel.
It's such an oddly specific knowledge
when you
have.
When you
Did you Wikipedia this?
No, I have dealt with MRSA. My ex-wife had MRSA all the time. I've actually concocted. My kids have had it.
You've concocted it?
Yeah, I had it on my face. It almost cut off my breathing.
Okay.
I don't think that means what you think it means.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make light. You meant contracted, not concocted.
Yeah.
Contracted. Were you a mad scientist in a lab?
Yeah, I did.
I do not think that means what you think it means.
Okay, thanks, and you go.
But you used to only get it in hospitals, and a lot of times when you hear people dying of complications due to surgery, it's due to they got a MRSA infection.
That's terrible.
You can get it from wrestling mats,
you can
pools,
get it. But the thing is, it's so communal now that you can get it virtually anywhere. I mean, the simplest thing and people freak out about it like there's no tomorrow. But the simplest thing is just wash your hands, Try and keep a clean environment. You don't have to be this germaphobe like Higgins. You just have to just wash your hands and be clean about it.
Yeah.
MRSA's really, I mean, if you get one, just lance it, get it open. It has to drain. Like, that's the really only thing. Yeah. They have some antibiotics for it, but they're really strong and they're really kind of...
You want to save those
for a really bad one, but you know, I what Brian's going through is just, it sucks. It really, really sucks.
Yeah, it's super scary, and the fact that he didn't talk about it at first. I mean, he's back out, but then went back in the hospital, so now he's actually talking about it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, if you can almost die from this, Jesus, that's terrible.
He said he woke up in the hospital 4 days later.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, that is so. I mean, it's not funny. It's just like, it's so bad. It's like,
well, the thing is it spreads so quickly. Like, for me, I had it on my face right under my nose, and it started to spread down my neck, and I couldn't breathe.
Ugh.
And it took less than a day.
Oh my God.
For it to do that.
Oh my God.
That's terrifying.
So
that is terrifying.
Well, hopefully, Bendis recovers fine. I mean, this can definitely keep... we may not see his DC work now for quite some time. This may put a kibosh on anything he had planned at DC, at least for the next few months. But, fingers crossed. So we'll see what happens.
So send him your well wishes and good thoughts.
Yeah, and it sounds like Marvel and DC are cool with, obviously, medical situations, Trump, anything else. So hopefully he's, get some time to recover before going back to work. We're going to talk about some trailers. The first one, which it wasn't anything really special, but it did have a release date attached. So I don't want to talk about this. Jessica Jones, Netflix show, season 2 returning March 8th. So that's real soon. Loving it. I know some of you guys didn't like Jessica Jones as much as others.
I haven't seen it yet.
But I love Jessica Jones.
No shit, you did.
Yeah.
It's actually like in tons of people's lists, tons and tons of people's lists, it is their number one. And I do not understand that at all, but I will... acknowledge that, if the masses say that it's good and I didn't like it, then
well, you just don't care about. I mean, you don't care about the character, right? I mean, is that a big part of it?
I love the character. I'm I guess frustrated with like how many people have such a hard on for David Tennant as the Purple Man. It's like, I love David Tennant as Doctor Who and as an actor. And I didn't not like him as the Purple Man. I just thought that like. There were so many ridiculous eye-roll story moments in that series, specifically with regards to how many times he escaped.
That was
anyway, look,
bit too much.
There's some saying, I may have even said on this podcast
again,
before.
Think of his power. Why can he not escape?
Right.
I mean, he has the power of influence.
Yeah, it makes sense.
He should be able to escape
he's
almost.
I'm not going to get into Jessica Jones season 1 with you right now.
He's the best Jedi.
No, Scott Free is way better as long as he's written by Tom King. Now, if Tom King writes season 2, then sign me up. There's some saying that I might have said on the Comics Conspiracy podcast before or somewhere else that if you walk around every day and all you see is assholes, maybe you're the asshole or something along those lines. And so if everybody else is absolutely loving this season of Jessica Jones and I didn't, then maybe I'm the asshole. But, I'm never the asshole, so everybody else is assholes.
So what you're really telling us right now is you're an asshole.
No. Confirmed.
Okay.
If you listened at all to what I said, that's what you think.
Isn't it more what we know?
I don't know.
Jessica Jones 2.
Anyway, so Jessica Jones.
I'm looking forward to it.
Jessica Jones coming back.
I'm definitely going to watch it. It can't possibly be as good as Punisher. No. But I finished that. We can talk about that maybe later. But I hope that it's great. Tell me they're not bringing Purple Man back.
I don't know. Is he in it? I think he's supposed to be in it, like in flashbacks or something. I don't know.
I can handle flashbacks.
I don't know if he's in it like regularly. I guess we'll find out.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
Get a new villain in there. See what happens.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, just I think that a lot of fat could have been trimmed off a lot of those Marvel shows.
Yeah. We can talk about Punisher a little later. And we get through this stuff, we do that, and then we can do some questions. Because very little comic news again. End of year, everything's already released. We're slow January, February, so nothing big is getting announced.
It's list season, baby.
It is. We're going to do that soon. So we have a couple trailers to talk about here besides the Jessica Jones one. which I know, Bryce, you're going to want to check out when we talk about that Avengers trailer in a minute, which I am so sorry we didn't talk about this last week. I don't know how we spazzed on it. It was on my initial list and everything, and we just skipped right over it. So
accurately called out that you definitely would not have missed it if it was a DC trailer.
Well, I don't know. We end up talking other stuff. I think I meant to kind of keep it to the end, and we just kind of spaced on it.
I think it was Toby almost wetting himself laughing that kind of distracted everyone.
Maybe. But we talk about the Spider-Man trailer, Into the Spider-Verse. I had no idea that this was like a theatrical movie. I thought this was just some little animated Spider-Man movie they were going to do. I had no idea this was like a big theatrical
this is bringing
trailer.
This is bringing Miles Morales to the
more than just Miles Morales. Spider-Verse is everyone, right? So
yeah, that's your first appearance of.
Yeah, it could be Spider-Gwen. Could be.
Does that mean we're going to get Gwenpool?
Well, I don't think you get Gwenpool. She'd be an X-Man, I think, an X character. But all the different characters that they had in the Spider-Verse series
character.
Should be
X'd out,
although not a mutant. Wait. So how is this different than the other? Some good, some very average Marvel cartoon / CGI movies that, and I'm only speaking from a point of ignorance, which is very rare for me, of the whole Marvel cartoon universe. Is there like a Marvel cartoon universe, or is it just sort of one shots?
Well,
why are we excited about this and not some other Marvel cartoon just because they don't come out very often?
Well, most of the Marvel cartoons have been fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Well,
this is actually the first one done by Sony, so this is not this is not for TV or one of the direct animated movies. This is a full big budget, full feature presentation theatrical movie.
It'll be in the theaters.
Yes. So first, I didn't realize that. So that does kind of change things quite a bit. Second, we'll talk about. I have some weird issue with this trailer, but the look of it is incredible. I mean, we all watched it before recording, and we had seen it before, and hopefully everyone listening has seen this too. It looks very cool. It's a very, very stylized movie. It kind of looks like some of the. I think someone on the Facebook group said it kind of looks like the Spider-Gwen art, like the art in the comic Spider-Gwen, and I was like, I could kind of see that. Just very angular. It's funny, we were actually watching Akira here at the store, and there is sort of it kind of has that Akira Ghost in the Shell, future kind of, it doesn't look like modern day New York. It looks like this sort of Neo Tokyo sort of look. And I like the style of it a lot, but I find the animation of, we don't see a ton of it, so we only see Miles running around a little bit, but the actual movements, it's very jerky. Did you notice that?
Sped up. I would say it looks like it's.
Well, no, it looks like the Lego movie.
And sped up.
It looks like the Lego movie or like a claymation movie where there's it's not a fluid motion between movements. So when he's swinging around, it looks fine, but when he's walking, or the part where he's crawling up, it's all kind of this herky jerky, and I don't know if that's an intentional style or if it's just not done. It's a weird look, and I'm surprised I haven't seen more people talking about that, because it was the first thing I noticed. It was whoa, I don't like that. It looks awesome. The visuals are super cool, but that style of animation really takes me out of it really quick. Again, I don't know, did none of you notice that, or...
I did not notice it.
I also did not notice it, but I will acknowledge I'm not a cartoon connoisseur,
okay.
So I would not really know if this was a good or bad trailer. I thought it looked very cool. I still would probably love it if I saw it, and will 99% never see it.
Yeah, it is.
I probably would love it. I'm not saying that I won't. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that, priorities in life.
How old's the little man?
Little man is 5.5.
He might want to see it because it comes out next year.
Close. You're getting close.
Mm-hmm. Then what I would be teaching him is that it's okay to just absolutely rip off an existing character because just kidding. I know Higgins wants me to talk about my love for Miles Morales. Would love a Peter Parker Spider-Verse story. Will not get it, and I'm fine with that. And yeah, me missing it has nothing to do. yeah, I'm excited to see more things with him. If this is one of them, then that's awesome. I'm sure that if there's a whole cartoon renaissance in my future, that's also awesome. It's just right now I'm not watching a lot of cartoons, just because of time and other things.
Right, time and other things. I mean, for me, it's civilian TV and civilian movies take preference. They come before, and even civilian books.
All right, I hear you. I like your priority list.
I just, you have to draw the line. I don't have that many hours in a day.
Not that many.
I mean, so back to the trailer. I mean, it showed us some interesting, cool action kind of scenes. Slowed down for a minute, revealed Miles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a teaser.
Yeah.
So, but Christmas next year.
That was another very weird thing that I noticed, and I don't know if this is common, and Scott sort of alluded to the fact that it's very uncommon, that like this is a trailer for a cartoon over a year in advance.
I mean,
is that normal?
If it's an animated, if it's a movie, yeah.
Pixar?
Yeah, sure. I think we got the trailer for Zootopia, something like 18 months prior, and it was just like the characters walking on screen and talking, and like it had nothing to do with the movie.
So I guess I'm misunderstanding the scope of this thing.
This is
Zootopia. I put up there with like Toy Story, whatever number
this
they're
is
on.
This is a full featured animated movie. Probably not rated G. I mean, it's not going to be rated G. It's probably going to be PG-13.
When is Invincibles coming out too?
That's next year, I think. End of next year, maybe early 2019. I don't remember. They just had the teaser for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cartoons they normally do a little bit long.
This whole cartoon that we're taking very seriously and we're putting in movie theaters, but it's not a G-rated or PG-rated kids movie seems like a very weird world to me. I'm not understanding this world.
Well, I
hope it's very successful. I've absolutely nothing against it.
If you're waiting for a G-rated,
the trailer looks cool, yeah.
If you're waiting for a G-rated animated movie featuring Marvel characters, look no further than Marvel Rising: Secret Warriors, another upcoming animated movie by Marvel Studios. Did you guys see the poster for this? No trailer, just got announced. The poster is up.
Secret Warriors.
Voice cast is up.
Secret Warriors or New Warriors?
It's called Marvel Rising: Secret Warriors, featuring.
Oh dear, cracking the knuckles.
Spider-Gwen. Renamed Ghost Spider for this movie.
Stop.
No.
Quake.
No, keep going.
Voiced by Chloe Bennett, who's Daisy on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Inferno, who I believe... Is he an Inhuman?
He's an Inhuman.
He's been in the Royals book, of obviously.
Exile, who is more... Miss Marvel.
I don't know who Exile is.
Which Miss Marvel?
Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel.
Kamala Khan, the Inhuman.
Yep.
Stretchy. Embiggen.
Squirrel Girl, voiced by
so you
actress,
love it. So that trumps everything.
Jesus.
That's going to play on, Squirrel Girl, the one that, voiced by the same actress that's going to play her in that New Warriors show that's probably never going to happen now. America Chavez, Brock's favorite. Patriot.
Also your favorite, bro. You were throwing just as much shade at America.
Patriot. Glory Grant, I have no idea who that is. Hala, I also have no idea who that is. George Stacy is going to be in. I believe Captain Stacy, right? So that's a character I know. And of course, Lockjaw and Tippy Toe are going to be in it. That's Tippy Toe is Squirrel Girl's squirrel. So, Bryce, when do you buy your tickets, man? I know you're ready.
This is not. This sounds like you said. This is a cartoon.
And Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel's going to be in it too.
Wait, so both Captain Marvels?
Yeah, Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel. Yep.
Just so they
both. Yeah.
Keep it clear.
Have to have an adult in the room. So
this sounds like exactly the reason that I don't watch cartoons. This sounds like just a hot mess. This is a cartoon. Is this getting a theatrical release too?
I believe so. This I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it says animated feature film. It could be direct, but I believe it may have some limited theatrical release.
Yeah, I'll probably not get around to this one. If I had to guess abstractly, I might see it, but it's not looking good.
Period.
Yeah.
Huh.
I liked less than half of the characters.
No, I got to see if I could do something.
Is the audio messed up?
No, audio's not messed up. Audio's not messed up. Let's get through this. Let's see, Marvel Rising Secret Warriors. Yep, there we are. Okay, cool. Let's go on to the next thing. Anyway, yes, it's another animated movie. I figure after so long being at Disney, it's good that they finally actually do some animated stuff. Because I feel like when they went to Disney, all of a sudden, like, all their animated stuff stopped. They had the cartoons on TV, but their animated feature films, their animated movies, all dried up.
The animated ones. They've still done the CG ones.
Yeah.
But the animated ones have dried up.
Yeah. So that Avengers trailer. I think we want to talk about that.
Infinity War. This is how you get Bryce out of the room.
Leaving. Bryce, you want to walk out of the room for a few minutes?
Is Scott going to come get me?
Yeah, I'll send Scott to come get you.
Oh, and by the way, Bryce, I love how last week somebody was like, "Who's Scott?" For those of you who don't know, I've known everybody at the table for at least
and you've been on the podcast in the
15
past.
15 years.
Yeah, you've been on the podcast once or twice in the past.
If it sounds like
you've
to
only
you,
known me about 10.
Some stranger shows up and talks to everybody that you know really well. I'm not a stranger. I mean, I was at Ryan's wedding.
I mean, you are a stranger, but
I've known Bryce since he was a little kid.
You do realize that
Brock's been under my house.
Yeah, it's true. When you first came on the show, he put a stranger danger sound right beforehand, so people get all freaked out. What were you trying to do?
We talked about that Avengers trailer.
Oh, Infinity War.
Infinity War. So, as many people know, I often get a little critical of Marvel stuff, and I've been a little critical of the recent Marvel movies. Although I like many of them, I have found the more recent Marvel movies not been my tone.
You're a curmudgeon. That's fine.
You're not a big fan of Phase 2?
Well,
he's not
the fan of
Phase 2 or Phase 3?
I think we're in Phase 3 now. No,
he's not
really
a fan of humor. You got to remember.
I love humor.
So,
but I want my superhero movies to be a little more serious, a little more action, a little more adventure. And there are funny moments in even the ones I don't really care for, but I just wish they were a little something different. I want them to be more than what they are. I want them to be more serious. I want them to be...
You want them to have less the stupid humor in it and actually focus on story instead of getting to the next cheap joke.
Yes.
I did find it odd. Today I was looking at movies that came out in 2017 in preparation for lists.
Yeah. People actually do homework for
yes.
And Thor is listed on Rotten Tomatoes as a comedy.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me at all.
Stupid.
It was good.
Stupid.
We will agree to disagree.
It looked good. I'll give you that.
That's exactly what I expected. But anyway, Avengers.
Infinity War.
Yes.
Holy shit, does this look amazing. Fucking incredible. I am so excited for this. Tonally, it looks awesome. It looks violent as hell. Just the Thanos just kicking the shit out of people. Okay, first of all, we have to talk about Thanos because there's a lot of people complaining about maskless Thanos. I mean, that's what the dude looks like. That's like exactly what Thanos looks like.
Go read one of Marvel's best comics of the year.
Yeah,
Thanos. Yeah, he doesn't wear the helmet.
Yeah, when he takes his helmet off,
he looks exactly
what he looks like.
The same.
Yeah.
So suck it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're into Thanos, maybe he'll get the helmet at the end. He'll put the final gem on his forehead or something. I don't know what the hell he's going to do, but like that's what Thanos looks like. So cool. But man, it looks so good. Just the armies of Wakanda going against, I'm assuming Thanos's
beast thing,
his army. Yeah. Going against, going against Steppenwolf's parademons and
with all the things dropping down to terraform the Earth again.
I just needed to see the glove and him putting the gems. In the glove.
Yeah. Well, this movie has the big giant thing in the sky that's going to blow up the planet, so people have to start hating on this movie because everyone hates that when DC movies do it. So, of course, it's in a Marvel movie now, so people will love it. But anyway, I'm super fucking excited for this movie. It looks awesome. This is exactly what I want. Now, you get the slightest little bit of comedy at the very, very end of the trailer where Thor's like, who the hell are you guys? And the Guardians wave. But look, I'm okay with a little bit of humor in the movie. I don't need everything to be like Dark Knight, just like dark as hell. Like I love Guardians. It's one of my favorite Marvel
Dark Knight
movies.
Had comedy in it.
Had a little bit, sure.
Had a little.
Oh, it did. Absolutely did. It's a dark comedy.
Tell me you did not laugh when he said, "Let me show you a trick with the pencil."
The pencil joke. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That's incredible. But yeah, no, it's
just pounding the detonator and it wasn't working, and then it goes off. He's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, no, there's a really funny moment. There's a couple funny-ish moments of Dark Knight, but again, I am stoked the hell on that first trailer.
Yeah,
now, if we get a trailer in like April that's just like 3.5 minutes of slapstick, throw the movie in the trash.
That's why.
Throw it in the trash.
So I'm out. I'm out of trailers. This is it.
Okay.
First one and
Just
out.
one? Okay.
Sometimes I'm none.
Yeah.
But this is my
I had a rule, but I seem to just break my rule all the time now.
It just depends on what movie it is, whether you'll break your rule or not.
Well, like Star Wars, I'm just like, I'm not seeing an opening night. I'm going to be super late seeing it, but I'm like, yeah, if I see it, I see it. When I see it, if I get spoiled, whatever.
Actually,
I kind of don't care.
I've liked Disney's promotion of Star Wars. So if you actually watch TV commercials that they're airing on TV, it's basically saying, don't get spoiled about this, and showing a scene from the trailer that's already been released. So it's nothing. There's nothing new.
Yeah,
so
it's
just the same stuff, and they're basically going, "Don't get spoiled." And they're
trolling. They're trolling their audience.
Yeah, but it's hilarious because it's like, yeah, that's really. I mean, I've watched a couple trailers and I'm done, but occasionally I'll catch a TV one here and there, and I'm nope. They show like 5 seconds, some titles, and it's done. I'm like, that's all you need. It's Star Wars. Like that's all you need.
Yeah. Nope. So I'm super stoked for this. You see Blonde, Black Widow, Vision in human form. No Ant-Man. Didn't see Ant-Man. So I'm bumming about that.
The best thing about this trailer
it'll be there.
The best thing about this trailer was we actually fucking got Spider-Sense.
Yeah. Oh God, I hate Spider-Man's new costume. Oh, terrible.
See, I say something like that's really fucking good, and he goes and says, "Oh, yeah, this terrible fucking thing."
No, the Spider-Sense is cool. The costume's awful.
The costume is just a straight up. This is Tony Stark helping Spider-Man be a bit. It's the next evolution of his super suit.
Yeah,
so
It's Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man armor .5.
He doesn't need to be. He doesn't need to be in a regular costume.
Yeah,
just move on.
It's super bad costume. But anyway, whatever. Hopefully, he's only in it for 5 minutes.
Oh, Cap's
but it looks
back.
great. Oh, and Cap, bearded Cap. So we got Nomad Cap,
and we don't need to CG it out either.
Yeah, there you go. If he's in a Warner Brothers movie, they'll have to CG it off. Yeah, dude, I don't know that trailer's good. That trailer is
good,
super good. So
again, I think we're still going to get some setup from Black Panther.
Oh God, yes.
Oh yeah, of course.
That was a huge
directly. Yeah,
huge Wakandan push in this.
So especially with this trailer, I kind of understand why they held off, especially since it does the reveal that Thor's lost an eye.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm pretty sure this is not the same.
He lost an eye in his movie.
Yeah, but they weren't releasing a trailer before that.
Okay.
Because they didn't want to spoil the Thor movie.
Yeah, and I believe this trailer was different from what was in what was different at D23.
I love Eye Patch Thor.
Yeah, he's cool. He's cool looking. I like him.
Just turn that chain again.
All right. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about Avengers as it gets closer, but for now, let's pause real quick and let's bring Bryce back. All right, Bryce is back. Bryce, sorry. We stopped talking right before they killed Iron Man in that Avengers trailer.
Okay, well, it sounds like Earth's Mightiest trailer.
Oh, hey.
Well, no, it was good because, I mean, look, when you have Thor killing Iron Man, that's a pretty important piece of Marvel lore.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, see?
So
where's Toby?
We're going to move on. He's getting drunk with employees or coworkers, I mean.
Well, can you blame him?
We're going to move on to some questions here. First is from Leanne Hill, longtime listener. She says, "What kind of crap-ass signature is that?"
Yeah. Wait. Are you joking?
Well, she did send this question.
Did you tell her that I said that?
That's what she tweeted at me. It's a question that was sent to me. So, what kind of crap-ass signature is that? Well, it's my normal crap-ass signature when I sign stuff is kind of an R with a very long tail. That's my signature.
Look, you've got wait, hold on. Look, you've got fans now.
So this is for the Comic Conspiracy Podcast print done by Leanne Hill, signed by the cast. No, Scott, sorry. But it's being shipped out tomorrow, just in time for Christmas. Hopefully it gets to everyone by then. And my signature, when I sign something a little more formal, is the R with the long tail. And then I just put 2 lines to make it look like it's like an H, R-H, right?
I mean, that's... You can put like a star at the end with the heart.
Little smiley face.
Like no, it's awful. So that's funny, Leanne. good taste in bad shit. That was an awful signature that I mentioned to you before the podcast started. It looks like, I mean, don't get me wrong, dear listeners, mine is definitely worse. I described it as a third grader trying to do cursive for the first time ever. But yeah, Higgins is like one of those ones where you want to try to be cool, and so he does like the R with the long tail, and then two vertical lines for the H.
It's mostly just me being lazy. It's just like R.
No, because it has the potential with the whole like stylized, way that you do just RH.
Brock does some like geometric shape.
I don't even want to get started on what I think about Brock's. I don't.
All the letters in my name are in it.
I don't even want to.
So you have a lot of letters for like B, R. It's like all like they all kind of go to each other.
Okay, so I do this little. I came up with this little symbol thing when I was sitting in high school, bored out of my mind.
Yeah,
it's like how
Brock's
can I
symbol definitely looks like it was combined by the mind of a high schooler.
Who are you, Prince?
Why not?
It's a yin and yang.
Whenever
That's the only thing I saw in high school.
Whenever I'm at a hotel, I'll sign the back of the Bible with it in the year I was there.
What the fuck? Why would you do that?
It's like writing on $1.
Yeah, well, just that's your answer?
Which one? Do you get like if you go to Marriott's have the Mormon Bible.
Whatever
also.
Bible's in the door.
Yeah. Whatever, just
whatever.
What if there's two of them?
You don't just leave Bibles alone? You like have to go and deface them? Like you go out of your way?
Put there by Gideon.
You know who's an awesome 90s character was Gideon.
He was solid.
He was good.
Speaking of X-Men.
And he's back. Cable, Newer Mutants, loving it. I'm absolutely loving everything Cable. There's so much Cable, it's coming out my ears.
New creative team coming on Cable.
I'm very excited about the new creative
Hope.
team. It's looking very solid.
Cable and Hope.
I'm not really sure
Cable.
why Bryce son, not to be confused with my son.
JT, hashtag life with JT.
That's right. Why he is going off the book, but whatever. He had a good run, and I hope the next guys is just as good. Cable, doing great.
Yeah.
Combined with Hope, what could go wrong?
Well, let's talk about some X-Men here for a second. Travis down at Current Comics, he says Thursday, Disney and Fox. This is the word we're hearing. 2 days.
Yeah, I was even more excited before I stepped into the store and had Scott shatter probably 20 to 30% of my dreams. But this is like literally hard-on generating material, every moment of my life, which is sort of how I live my life already. Just less aggressive slightly.
I was really happy about the news on Thursday coming up, except I went online as I, getting ready to come on and try to speak with some kind of knowledge about what I'm doing, and found out that
Charlie's in the house. Sorry, the doctor's in the house.
Charlie, I have stolen your seat.
I'm aware.
Charlie's here.
I will move at the next intermission if necessary.
Let's all go to the lobby. Okay.
God, you two.
That was good.
Charlie,
No,
we're just talking about Thursday's apparently the day Fox and Disney, or Disney's going to buy Fox.
Yeah, that's been the rumor.
Yeah, Thursday's coming up, so
Charlie, what do you feel about the fact that
Charlie
bit my finger?
They watched the video earlier, Charlie.
no idea what this is.
Another YouTube classic.
That's why I don't know what
Charlie
it is.
bit my finger.
I don't watch
Guys,
it.
You're
go
like
look
the
it up.
king of GIFs and memes and
Yeah.
12-year-old shit,
But I hate
you don't
YouTube.
know what Charlie bit my finger
No,
is?
I hate YouTube. I never
No,
watch
I don't know what
YouTube.
Charlie bit my finger is. This one passed me by.
Here, bite my finger and we'll recreate it. Or maybe not.
What do you think about Fox possibly not fully owning the rights to the Fantastic Four?
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
Wait, I still want. Do we have confirmation that this isn't just a clickbait article? That this is actually
I don't know.
like
I don't know.
real rumor as opposed to rumor level, whatever the fuck Higgins would call it.
Too.
I just think it's scarier that we're getting less and less entertainment companies.
I think it's okay. So most people think this is a horrible idea because it is more power under the control of Disney, which is bad for business, is bad for everyone. Like real people think this is a terrible, scary idea. Nerds are super excited because Wolverine and Spider-Man and Captain America can hang out. So and we can have the
We can have the alt Fantastic Four with Hulk,
and because we can have the Fox drum roll in front of Star Wars again. Like that's why nerds are excited. But the logistics of actually this merger going through is like potentially devastating to the entertainment industry. But that said,
potentially devastating.
It is. But I'm super excited for Wolverine and Spider-Man to team up and Captain America. So
I don't know. The entertainment industry has changed a drastic amount over the last couple of years. I mean, Netflix came out of nowhere, and I don't really see it being drastic. It's just evolving, just like everything else at this point.
So, just so I understand, in association with maybe what Charlie is getting towards, but you're worried that we're losing Fox as one of the major pins in this big group of power players? Is that what I'm understanding?
Let's put it this way. You're going to get fewer Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm. I will get probably more Marvel Studios movies and definitely less Marvel crap movies. How about that?
Well, yes. But the reality is Disney's going to want to space out their movies, and they've already reached a point where they're not going to want to insert more than one more Marvel studio movie in a year versus the 2 or 3 Fox ones we've been getting every year.
At current Fox, there's been like 4 or 5 Marvel movies coming out now.
It used to be like 0 to 1, maybe 2 per year, and nowadays it's you know,
cup 3 runneth over.
3 or 4 or 5. My fucking cup runneth over. Yeah. I love that, and I am happy to have it fucking runneth over.
1 a month. Let's get 12 a year.
So we're more than that, I think, at this point, aren't we?
12 a year.
Well, what was? I mean, shit. What was this year, comic book wise? There was a crap load of comic book movies this year.
Wonder Woman, Logan.
Jesus, that's where you
Homecoming?
Guardians 2, Homecoming.
Yeah.
Thor and Justice League.
That's 6. And
Yeah.
then what
There's
are
more
the
than that,
French
though.
ones?
No, but then you have Valerian. You had
Valerian. It's a comic movie.
Nobody's counting Valerian.
Cara Devine. Is that her name?
There's a lot.
What is that even English?
Yeah.
Lot.
You're supposed to say silly Scott. I don't understand Spanish.
Next time. Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Guardians 2. We forget about Guardians 2. Lego Batman. Power Rangers.
No, we don't count Power Rangers. Lego Batman, if we count it, then that's 7, but that's sort of a
false.
That's sort of a peripheral
Captain
one.
Underpants.
False.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. It's probably better than Justice League, though. Just kidding.
On
Cinescore
or Rotten Tomatoes, it is.
Probably. What's his name? Captain Underpants?
No, it is.
I bet. Really?
Yeah. It was very well received.
Was it now?
Yes.
It's another one of the CGI targeted towards kids movies that are very safe for studios to make at this point.
I'm surprised that my kids haven't gotten into that. But they haven't, thank God. And wait for it! Fox doesn't discriminate! It just sells to Disney, who doesn't hate. And then they make Marvel movies that are great.
Fuck is going on?
Oh, that was pretty good.
So Travis also wants to know.
That wasn't a bad little...
That's good.
What do you guys think of the mid-season finale of The Gifted? Now, I'm way far behind on Gifted.
Oh, I'm super behind.
Okay, so we have no thoughts on the mid-season finale of Gifted, nor the mid-season finale of Walking Dead.
Now, mind you,
I
will probably start having opinions on this stuff by the end of like Christmas break.
Yeah, my hope is to marathon like 12 shows a day, basically, on my days off to catch up.
So I watched the mid-season of Walking Dead.
Okay, now, I mean, let's keep the spoiler out, but big stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Our big characters announced to be off the show coming up soon. So, did it work? This is a drastic deviation from the show. So, from the comic. I mean,
it's a drastic deviation from the comic, but I think that in the sense of Walking Dead, the show has done such a good job keeping the essence of the comic that the things that I'm not going to spoil it. Take your fingers out of your ears. That's Scott I'm talking to. Yeah, they've done such a good job keeping the essence that things like, oh God, what was the blonde's name? I always blank. Andrea is still in the comics, but they got rid of her in the show. Andrea.
I don't know.
Well, it's close.
I'm just going to make up names from now on. It's the way to go.
Go for it.
But Andrea, that's obviously, she would have to be French because that's the only way they would say that.
They've kept kind of the essence of the group in what her character was. They brought it into the group, and it's still part of who the group is. So this character leaving the show, yes, is very it's a big thing. But I think with some of the other things that they've changed, those things that work in the comic book for that character that's still in the book can move to another character in the show.
Yeah, they've done that a few times where they've had like, oh, this plot, but this character instead of this character.
So I don't foresee it being too difficult of a transition for them. It's a really sad thing, but I think people are going to be super excited for the mid-season finale, which isn't back until the 25th of February.
Right? Yeah, super long break.
Yeah.
You guys are Game of Thrones not back till 2019 now.
Yeah.
That's very official.
So
what?
sad.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
right.
I did not. Did this break on Twitter like hours before the podcast? Like normal?
No.
This has been talked about for a few months, but I think it's. I think what's your face?
It's just more and more people confirmed it.
Yeah, you get an amazing dragon freaking burning down the wall, and then
hey, at least we have Westworld this year.
2 years later,
yeah. My son's gonna hit puberty. When he was born, I was the one lusting after Daenerys. Which, who could blame me?
Yeah,
I am her cousin. Whoa.
Okay.
Westworld, pumped. So excited.
Is season 2 coming out?
Not yet.
Yeah, next year.
2018.
2018. I'll take that.
So Keith asks, there were 6 pods in Mon-El's ship on Supergirl. Mon-El came back. He's back, baby! And he brought Saturn Girl from the Legion of Superheroes with him. We know Brainiac has been casted in one of the other pods. So that's 3. Who are their 3 remaining pods? Now, I'm sure I've seen everyone cast, and I just don't remember who they've actually what characters have actually cast for the show. So
they're like Legion.
It must be Lightning Lad and Cosmic Boy because they're the other 2 founding members of the Legion of Superheroes.
Give me a bouncing boy.
Along with Brainiac and Mon-El, you basically have your 5 main members of the Legion. So now number 6 is the wild card. Who do they bring? I'm going to say a girl because it's a Supergirl show, and I would say Dawnstar would be my pick as well. I would love for them to have Dawnstar in the show.
Or Phantom.
They could have Phantom Girl. They could have Phantom Girl because she's going to be in the comics too. So they may want to put her. They may have her in the show at the same time she comes back in the comics, which would be real cool.
Well, she also has a relationship with Mon-El.
Phantom Girl? Yeah, don't they get married in the
in the comics? In the comics, they're in a relationship. I don't remember if they get married.
Yeah, but in Supergirl show, he's married to Saturn Girl. So
okay.
And they changed it up pretty heavily. So
Starman's gonna be pissed.
Bryce is just like Legion. Dumb teenagers, Ryan's favorite. Get out of here. Scroll on Twitter.
You're dumb.
No, I'm playing Marvel Puzzle Quest. You do love your fucking teenager shows, and I'm not watching them, and so I'm going to play my fucking little app game while you talk about it. I didn't say anything negative about it at all.
Okay,
I'm sure it's very entertaining. Okay. Lord knows I have my own nerdy shit, but it's calling me when you talk about your love of teenagers is
giving you crap.
Is Marvel Puzzle Quest.
Hey, you were just lusting after Daenerys. It's fine. It's Legion. It's just I don't lust after teenagers from the 31st century. I like teenagers from the 31st century.
Ew.
Wait, whoa. Alabama's having their election tonight. Be a little careful with the.
It's actually for members of this podcast not to get political, but it's looking good right now.
Oh, good.
For Jones.
Yes.
Just making sure.
I don't want to talk about it on the podcast. So anyway, I'm sure that I'm sure that the CW
I know
shows
Doug too.
You know Doug.
Are all very good, and every one that I've seen, I've at least liked, if not really liked. Woo! There's a ringing fucking endorsement. And if again, this is a whole time thing. If I had more time, I'm sure that I would like even more. So I have nothing negative to say. And goalpost Ryan Higgins is what the fuck? What is that symbol? What are you doing to me?
Politics. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. Mr. Higgins is no, don't get the earpods in. So let me just establish, while Higgins is really happy, that DC may have had a better writing year than Marvel, but Marvel is still better in every way.
Except a bunch of ways we could list.
I would love for you to list, and
3. So Ryan. Not me. Ryan.
Not Ryan
asks,
Scott.
why don't more comic shops offer or utilize a prepay option for subscriptions? Now, we talk about this a lot.
God.
We talk about this a lot. where
you're about to blow Bryce's mind up.
Can we talk about how fucking shitty the Comixology app is? Have you ever tried to buy something on the Comixology app? Mm-hmm. That's right. You cannot buy anything.
Oh, yeah. On the app? No, you can't. Yeah.
That is fucking so stupid.
Well, you know why, right?
Yeah, because they don't want to give away 30%. Yeah. I would pay fucking 31% or more to be able to fucking just buy comics on the Comixology app.
Well, it's Amazon. I mean, Amazon doesn't want to give.
I know that they have this very contentious relationship. I totally get that. I understand it.
Wait. Slow down. Where do you buy?
Those are words that I've never heeded. Keep going.
Heeded or heard?
Amazon.
Heeded.
Amazon owns Comixology.
No, it's definitely heeded.
Where do you buy them and then download? I don't. How does it
have
work?
You used the Comixology app?
I have not.
It's the fucking least intuitive thing. Uber and Lyft are two companies that have fucking totally disrupted the taxi industry.
Status quo.
Because they are so intuitive, easy to use, frankly, probably cheaper in every capacity as that I can think of. I mean, the general rule of thumb should be if you make something fucking easier, then you should win or you should be more successful or profitable. Well, leave profitable out of it. More, feasibly used, more successful. You want to buy a comic on Comixology, you fucking cannot go into the app and buy it. You have to go and you have to go to the Comixology URL on your phone and download it to your account after you sign into your account, of course.
No, I was going to say you're supposed to go to Ryan's digital store, buy it from there, and then download it in Comixology.
Well, so Mr. Higgins...
Is that easier?
It is fucking not easier.
So Ryan is not making it easier.
Ryan
can't.
Ryan makes my life more difficult at every turn he can. But
digital,
in this case, he actually had
what you
no
do,
idea.
You actually go to the website is digital.dcrulesmarveldrules.biz, and you can actually buy all your DC comics there.
That's actually a website of just Higgins posing in his underwear only.
I have a quick question.
With his tidy whities. Superman. Just like, hey guys, hey girls. And Leanne's in the back giving him the stink eye, and he's like, Mama rules, DC drools. And he's got his tidy whities. And they're tidy whities, but they're Batman print tidy whities.
So is he the Captain Underpants?
Oh, God.
They're black. They have a cape. It's fine. It covers.
So, quick question. I'm
in the middle of a rant. What the fuck?
But I just went on the Comixology app and added Batman Annual 2, and it says complete order. How is this difficult?
But I think it kicks you out to the... How does it work? Well, you have an Android as well.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think Android, you're fine. I think Apple
I will
is...
tell you that currently, DCRulesMarvelDrools.com is not available.
Is it Drools with a Z, though? That's the question.
Buy that shit.
The question is, have we started doing sponsors for the show, and have Squarespace contacted you about
I'm actually just too busy going
in your tidy whities.
Last week we invented a Twitter handle for the Bags and Boards. This week we're inventing a website.
Oh, yes. The night is young, though, Charlie. Charlie, who bit my finger.
So anyway, Ryan's question about the prepay option for subscription. So some stores do, and I think actually our friend Travis here at Current Comics, I think they actually do that for a lot of their subscribers. I don't think that would work for a lot of stores. A lot of people don't want to give you cash up front for something. And that's not something that I necessarily require. Now, it's funny that you guys asked this because what you're talking about...
Let's talk about Albert Soy.
Yeah, so this normally would go in our regular plug, but good friend of the podcast, longtime Patreon backer, and longtime customer here at the store, and a good friend of mine, Albert.
Everywhere.
Everywhere?
Well, yeah, somewhere.
So his actual app, that was like a test kind of a thing. His actual thing that he's doing, this is not comic related, but it is comics conspiracy related. He has an app called Cambi, Cambi. It is a gift card and like
reward
point and prepay system for any business on Earth. Right, this is something that him and a few of his friends have. They did a startup, and they've been pushing this for a couple of years now. So it's kind of a big deal, and they go to a lot of small businesses. They started to go through a lot of stores out in Los Angeles, kind of like tea houses and Pearl tea places and coffee shops and stuff like that. But Comics Conspiracy is one of the.
I love that Pearl tea.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Oh yeah,
with the boba.
Oh yeah,
love the boba.
Gotta go with the boba. Otherwise, just why?
Yeah. What are you doing with your life?
No.
Comics Conspiracy is one of the test stores for this, and we are going to we're already live on this. So if you're a customer of Comics Conspiracy, you can join their program and you can earn reward points here. Basically, I think it's equivalent to like a 5% cashback or something like that. But you can also do a prepay. So you could do like a Starbucks card. You can prepay into it and pay here at the store. So this is not something we're pushing on like every customer that walks in the door. We're doing this to help Albert, kind of a test. We'll see long term if this is something that works for our store. Again, it works for certain locations better than others, but at least for the time being, we're going to run this for a little while. So, yeah, Albert, that's more than your normal plug. Scott, you used it.
I'm
pretty
in.
Quick.
Yeah. Albert, you're welcome, Albert.
I'm quick. It was in. I got it. Good to go.
As the guy who will be behind the counter on some random Sunday, you're going to have to tell me how this works.
Yes, Albert is coming in Sunday to talk to you. Oh, no, not this Sunday. I guess next Sunday. He'll talk to you about it. It's very simple for us to use here. But I was excited to have Albert to help Albert out here. So hopefully,
it's pretty cool.
It seems like a good program. So hopefully he makes it big, and then he can buy all his hot toys from me. And he can buy every comic instead of just the thing with
the the loyalty points. You're gonna get all my money anyway. So
sure.
That's it's I get a little kickback now.
Yeah. But yes, I think a lot of stores just don't. Customers are kind of not. A lot of customers don't really like that type of stuff.
Well, I mean, it's also difficult to prepay on some stuff because I prepaid on my copy of Southern Bastards 18. Well, I ordered that a year ago.
Yeah. A lot of, like I said, some stores do this where you prepay up front for everything you order in previews. Like a Comic Experience in San Francisco, you don't just have a standing order. You have to, I believe, pay in advance for everything you order in previews.
Wow.
Which for a lot of people that might not work for them. If you order off Amazon, you don't pay till it ships, right?
All these statue guys, the guys that get a lot of the toys.
No. This is straight up just every book.
Oh, okay.
Just normal comics. Yeah.
To me, it's just single issues, not that big a deal. But the amount of times when it's like, I don't even remember that was in previews because it got delayed for 3 years.
Yeah, it was so long ago.
Well, I mean, Charlie, you're also high on PCP.
So that's good to know.
Sorry to break it to you.
You're going to have to inform me who slipped me some PCP. Was it you?
Guilty.
So, yeah, I just think it's tough for a lot of people to prepay. But we do keep credit card on file for some people, especially for mail order and people that can't come in all the time. So that does remove some of the risk. But that's still...
Well, and there's also,
it still happens where people don't come in and pick up their books.
Comics difficult thing, but like stuff like toys and statues and all that stuff. A deposit is normally kind of a fair,
that's typical
thing to do. So
yeah. This is a question from Robert. We'll just ask this straight to Charlie.
Oh God, Robert.
He says, "Is Jeff Johns' Green Lantern Omnibus Volume 1 worth the cost?"
What?
It's currently less than retail price on a website that I won't mention.
Okay.
Yes, it is absolutely worth the cost.
Why would you ask Charlie? Charlie would say yes if you asked if what's the Tommy Boy line? If your mother wanted to buy ketchup white gloves for her ketchup popsicles. That's
Jeff Johns. It's Green Lantern. You should buy all three at once. Yes,
they're really pretty.
Oh, they're awesome. Yeah, no, they're great. Popsicles. They're great.
Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns. Anything. Why are you asking Charlie? Charlie is going to say yes to fucking anything.
That's why he asked Charlie. It's a DC related question.
Not to mention, Green Lantern was one of my favorite characters before Johns, and it just got bigger
and better.
Yeah. And that's what somebody
out of everything in the comic shop,
that's what is.
I would say I have sold more Jeff Johns Green Lantern than any other item in the comic shop.
Whoa.
That's because every time you talk about Jeff Johns when you're running the cash register, they keep hearing.
Well, whatever it is, it's working.
I'm not sure if that worked on the mic, but
I think we heard it.
All right.
Next
Higgins is making an editing note. Let me just edit this
this. There we go. Okay. This is from Norman. And you've had a chance to watch the new AMC series, Robert Kirkman's Secret History of Comics. A few good topics have been covered so far. I believe it's over at this point.
What?
No, they have one more episode.
No, I've been looking for it, but
I haven't even heard of this.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome. What is this?
Awesome.
It's so Robert Kirkman basically they do like is it hour-long shows?
Something like that. Yeah, it's like a history of comics.
Yeah.
That Kirkman's
they
doing,
did.
yeah.
They did the
what channel?
AMC.
Oh, is that why you said AMC?
Not the 70s vehicle.
Not the
company.
theater we go watch movies at.
Okay, I don't know what either one of you talking about.
I think it literally is, and it's the same AMC.
The AMC, the movie theaters.
Yeah, movie theaters I got, but you said something about vehicles.
Yeah.
I don't know what the vehicle is.
I'm pretty sure Pacer was made by AMC.
I'm pretty sure that you're 1 or 2 years older than me.
I know what 60s cars were, and
that makes one of us.
Way younger than that.
Okay.
It's knowledge. garbage knowledge.
Figure it out, Bryce.
The last episode basically goes through Image Comics.
Yeah.
So I haven't had a chance to watch them. I know they did a Wonder Woman one and just a generic superhero one.
Yeah. They've done a couple. Yeah.
I've been aware of it, but again, I'm way behind on any. I have probably 30 hours worth of shows sitting on my TiVo right now. I'm behind on.
Yeah.
Higgins is just looking at you like rookie.
One last question here from Ulysses. He says, "Are you guys mad about Warner Brothers and DC films?" Let me talk to you about DC films here.
Hey, he's not cracking his knuckles, so.
So DC Films, which was the company that was sort of set up to deal with all the DC movies post whatever happened with BVS and the disappointment there. It was Jeff Johns and John Berg. John Berg being one of the guys from Warner Brothers, Jeff Johns being the guy from DC. They were set up to deal with all the big studio movies coming up, and maybe even like Lego Batman and other stuff. I don't know. I don't know if they had anything to do with that, but I know they were involved with the DC Universe stuff. And apparently after Justice League, even though they had not really done anything fully yet, they have basically shut down this department. So John Berg is will no longer co-writing the division with Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns is now being brought in as just a
creative consultant.
Yeah, sure, consultant. Now, a few people have gone back and forth with me on this. As far as I know, and Charlie, maybe you know, or Brock, as far as I know, because you probably haven't paid attention to this.
Yeah, that's true.
So when I did my research, this was started post the release of BVS in 2016. This was like June of 2016 when this became official. They worked on BVS, but not in a fully formed way.
Johns was already consulting on movies way back with Green Lantern and all that. So,
right.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is well into production at that point. Suicide Squad was done.
But from what I recall, Johns was at least somewhat involved directly with the script of Wonder Woman.
Oh, he was with that, but I think that was outside of necessarily.
I know. I'm just
DC
saying that
films.
like he was already somewhat involved in Wonder Woman before this happened, so it wasn't like he was completely hands off with Wonder Woman.
No. He was very involved, and he was also very involved with Justice League. But a lot of these decisions of what was going on was done well before DC films. Now, as far as I know, the first DC films thing was going to be Aquaman. Is that they were involved with from moment one? Is that correct?
I think you're right that from moment one it was Aquaman, but I mean, obviously they came in while Justice League was starting production with this. Like, it wasn't that Justice League was fully into production.
No. They were involved in Justice League heavily. But
they got the full producer credits on Justice League and all that. They, as far as I understand it, they were definitely involved in the reshoot process and swap. Like, it's hard to argue the fact that they were hands off on Justice League.
No,
but you're right. They
it wasn't their baby to start with, right? I think that's the thing. They basically came in at the point where they had to go through and redo a bunch of stuff and do the reshoots, and they were not involved in the initial talks of Justice League back in 2014, 2015, right?
I would say this. Most of the contracts and everything around Zack Snyder directing it, the various casting, all that was done well before they had any say in anything.
Right.
And I was hoping we'd get a Johns. Johns would be like Henry Bendix, the weatherman from Stormwatch, just overseeing everything with an iron fist.
We don't even get one movie because now we're still a year from release of Aquaman. They could completely change stuff in the next 12 months.
Well, the thing is this it's not. I mean, DC Films is the one that works on making the film, creating the film. The studio is the one that controls the film.
Well, but I mean, even then, there were a lot of stuff that Johns was supposed to be doing that seemed to have fallen apart between that announcement and now. I mean, he was supposed to be co-writing the Batman movie with Ben Affleck, and then all of a sudden Ben Affleck's not directing it, he's not writing it, somebody else is writing. There's been a lot of shifts even past that.
Yeah, so I just don't know what they're gonna do with this, and it's really frustrating. But I mean, fingers crossed, right? Fingers crossed they can make something good of it.
So is this a good business decision, Higgins?
I don't know.
This is we needed a scapegoat, and these guys were put in charge.
Oh, thanks, Higgins.
It's all reaction.
Well,
it's
Warner Brothers to a T. I mean, they get skittish.
Warner Brothers to a T. What is that?
They're skittish all the time.
So this
Warner Brothers.
So I have a
skittish all the time.
I have a friend that is very knowledgeable about movie stuff and works in some capacity in the greater movie area.
No.
And talking with him about this, he said, yes, this is basically what Brock said. Warner Brothers is extremely reactionary and never thinks any of this stuff through, that they have severe problems at their head where they just instantly are just like, oh no, just going to change everything. One failure, we got to move on. We got to cut everything and not plan for the future.
Yeah, because you had Superman 1, which did okay, and then Superman 2 did okay, and then 3 really kind of didn't do very well, and then 4 was a flop, and then we didn't get a franchise for Superman or Batman for what?
Oh, Batman had a franchise starting. When was the Burton Batman done? That was
87.
89.
Wait, so you're saying
Batman?
that across decades, Warner Brothers is exhibiting this behavior, even though it's totally different people? You're going to sort of pin it on Warner Brothers?
It's more recent. I mean, I think it's
starting in the 80s. That's not it. Let me check my watch. Is it the 80s? No, it's not the 80s. How far back are we going? More recent. What is more recent?
What? More recent than the 80s?
Yeah, his examples that he's using are the 80s.
I don't know anything specific up until the last, I would say decade, really. But even within...
you talking Man of Steel
I would say
forward?
Man of Steel forward.
Well, Man of Steel forward, specifically the DC movies, where they've been extremely reactionary. But there's lots of movies like, what was it, Pan? Was it Pan that came out a couple years ago?
Yeah.
No, Pan. The Peter Pan movie that they did. Yeah. They had a bunch of flops in a row. They kept going back to the Wachowskis. They've done just a bunch of movies where they just didn't know what to do with. So this is not related specifically to just not related just to the DC movies, but in the last handful of years, they've had a lot of flops and a lot of real questionable material coming out. So,
well, that's really scary. I mean,
yeah.
So,
so even with sort of Justice League being a flop, they're still profitable because of how other movies from their studio did.
Sure. Wait, I'm sorry. What?
Warner Brothers
Justice League was what?
A flop.
Oh,
it is breaking even.
Yeah,
is all they're looking at this point. It will not make any money.
So is that a flop?
Even. In terms of a big summer blockbuster, that is a flop.
Higgins, what do you think about that?
I don't think it's a flop. I think it's definitely underperforming. They will break even, and on licensing and merch, they'll probably make a little bit of money, but they're not making. This was going to be their $1 billion franchise, and so far, every movie has failed to. I think Suicide Squad's the only one that's done what they thought, and maybe more.
What?
Oh, and Wonder Woman. Sorry,
yeah,
Wonder
that
Woman.
minor film. That was one of the best of the year.
Wonder Woman. I mean, see, I don't know what their expectation for Wonder Woman was going in.
Suicide Squad performed what they wanted, and you
Suicide Squad
Wonder Woman?
Big numbers.
No, I'm referencing more that you forgot Wonder Woman.
In spite of itself, Suicide Squad did good. Wonder Woman legitimately did good.
Met their expectations. Wonder Woman greatly exceeded their expectations.
Yeah.
Okay. So May or may not have been a flop, is what the consensus is.
In general, regardless, considering they invested so much money in the movie, breaking even is not good enough.
Yeah. They need to make more. And
well,
maybe they will, but...
I'd agree it's a flop. I just don't think that we'll get a quorum. No, wait, that's not the right word.
A quorum?
I think quorum is like if you have enough people. I'm looking for a word that is like you have a general consensus by
you want to be
everybody.
Unanimous?
No, I don't need unanimous. I just want to fucking have Higgins acknowledge that it was not as good a movie as it should have been.
So the rest of our opinions don't matter. It's just between you and Higgins.
Wow. Have you been on this podcast before, Charlie?
I think the rest of us
he's in a different seat, so it's new to him.
Yes. Everything's brand new. I have a whole different view.
He's not looking at me.
I have to look at you directly.
Oh, you're welcome. And you're in Toby's seat, so you're a little extra airheaded. Oh, Toby, we love you.
Yeah.
Which one? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, see?
Talking about that Dick Tracy comic.
Love Toby.
Oh, I'm excited for that Dick Tracy comic.
Yeah,
I'm so excited. Why don't you show up on time, Charlie?
That's good.
And stop biting my finger.
He had important kid stuff to deal with.
Yes.
Speaking of important stuff to deal with, let's wrap this episode up and thank some good friends of ours on Patreon because it's that time of.
No, this is like the shortest episode ever. Surely you and I could get into another argument before the end of this episode.
We've got plenty more stuff to talk about.
Come on,
soon.
you're just going to argue about whether or not we should end this episode at this point.
Challenge accepted. What other questions do we have? There must be more to talk about.
That is literally all the questions we got.
Random picks?
We do have to do some random picks.
Thank goodness.
We do have to do
I wasn't
going
to say anything, but
random picks. No,
you mentioned it why would you not say anything?
Correct.
Because I knew Scott was going to do it.
We do have to do some random picks.
Yeah. Clairvoyant.
All right, I'm actually recording now. So, and speaking of random picks, we have a very, very random pick. Oh, no, actually, I don't know if it's very random. We have lots of picks from a very random person. Joining us just out of nowhere, Scott Snyder, writer of Metal and Batman and All-Star Batman. Scott, are you
We're
there?
not worthy.
I'm here.
Scott Snyder.
Thanks for having me back, dude. I always love talking to you guys, so it's great. I'm glad to be back, Greg. Thanks.
Well, we actually have you on like officially now, so we're actually like, you know, not just the me and you back and forth. You're on the podcast. You got to meet Brock and Bryce and Charlie and Scott, and Toby's going to kill himself for not being here, but that's all right. That's what he gets for working. Going to a holiday party.
He's going to his holiday party.
Yeah.
It's work.
Holiday parties at the comic store with nerds talking to comic writers. That's real
take
party.
us to dinner.
Yeah, we'll do that too. Okay. But Scott, you're just in time for our random picks of the week. It's a little segment where, when I remember, we like to actually recommend books.
You never remember. I always have to remind you.
I know.
But I'll let Scott remind you this time.
I know. Our Scott.
You're our Scott now.
So we want to.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We want to hear about Metal, but you read a lot of comics, and you're always looking to push some books that maybe a little flying under the radar. What's some books you've been reading recently that you want to recommend to our fine listeners?
Yeah. No, I've been finishing up Metal, so my head's been in a lot of crazy cosmic stuff from Starlin and Ostrander and just out of control sort of space soap operas. But some of the stuff for me this year that was really great, I think, and flew under the radar a bit were, I loved some of the Young Animal stuff like Shade the Changing Girl by Cecil, who's just been terrific, and Marley and Marguerite Sauvage. I really, really like that book. Four Kids Walk into a Bank by Matt Rosenberg I enjoyed tremendously. I think Jeff Lemire is killing it with Black Hammer. If you're not picking that up, it's easily one of the best series of the year. And a couple other things. I think Extremity. It's Daniel Warren Johnson, right? Is that his name? Daniel, right?
Yeah, Extremity. Yeah. So that's the
Extremity.
image title. Yeah,
that's the image.
Yeah, I just started it, and the art itself is just out of control, phenomenal. Oh, you know what else? One of the books that I flew under the radar and was gone but I think deserves more attention was the Flintstones.
Oh yeah,
what?
I know it's
Flintstones?
Yeah, not in this.
When
shop.
is the hardcover coming out? That is what we all want to know.
Yes, call DC.
I got it I got it in my comp box, like the trade, and I had heard great things. And I started reading, and what Mark Russell did, and Steve Pugh, and
amazing,
just great. Yep. So yeah, that was a really good one.
So
and
one of the things at the store is that I can't just force every book down every customer's throat. So I have a select few. Mr. Miracle was one this year. where I just gave it to everyone that read Batman, and I said, you have to have the first issue for free, and if you like it, buy the rest. And every single person wanted to read more. Last year, it was Flintstones. That book blew my mind when I read that. I couldn't believe how good it was. So,
unfortunately, it was a few issues ahead by the time you discovered.
Yeah. Yeah, but Flintstones is
incredible. Mr. Miracle is Tom is killing it, and that guy he's a super close friend, and the only reason I didn't put it on the list was because everybody knows how great it is already. So
that pick's not random.
He's honestly, seeing him do as well as he is, has been a joy this year. Him and seeing James Tynion really come into his own, and Josh Williamson and the Benson sisters. There's just a bunch of people poised to do really great stuff this year too at DC in 2018. I'm excited about it.
So Scott, I had one question for you, and it's: is there a writer out there that we don't know who they are that's going to be coming up with something in the next year or so that we were going to have to read?
Yeah, I really hope that people pay attention to Tony Patrick. He's doing Signal with me, Batman and Signal, next month. He's just a terrific guy. He did some indie books. He did X'd, and he did a couple things. And then he was in the talent development workshop with me, and he had a real passion for Duke. And he developed this pitch about Duke being this hero by day in Gotham, and he just blew me away with all of his ideas about a juvie Arkham and all this crazy stuff about how Gotham in daytime is different. So I'm really, really proud of him. I just sort of help guide it. So anything you don't like is my fault. Anything you love is him and Cully Hamner and Laura, the colorist. And it's been the fact that we just got the numbers in for the first one. I was really excited. It was well over sort of double what I expected. And I really give credit to him, Cully, and Laura, and the fact that I like that they tried to build this character slowly over time and really make sure that he had a good landing and wasn't kind of shoehorned in a way that felt rushed. So he's somebody I really love. Aaron Gillespie is going to be helping me on Challengers. He's another student of mine. Vita Ayala, I think, is terrific. There are a bunch. Mags is great too. I had such a good talent development this time. Ryan Cady and Philip Johnson. They were great. And there was just a ton. Now, there really were.
For some people that don't know, you run a talent workshop within DC. You and Jim Lee and a couple other people within DC, I think, run that with you guys, where you actually get indie creators and brand new creators that have never really done any sort of. I think they've all had to publish something, but a lot of it's going to be like self-published and kind of go through the kind of the DC process and kind of bring them up to the kind of the big leagues, if you will. So a lot of these names you're hearing are going to be people that'll be working, have started already working at DC, or will be doing more work.
This is stuff that weren't most of these people featured in that new talent showcase that came out a few weeks ago.
They were, Sanya Anwar and Robert Jeffrey, and they really are, just great.
That's definitely something you need.
Talents.
I picked it up and I read it, and it was just phenomenal. Read.
Thanks. I'm really, honestly, with all the stuff that I do for DC, it might be the thing I'm proudest of. So I'm really, I love doing it. It keeps me really young as a writer too, because I go and give them all these lessons, and I'm sort of like, we do each week is sort of focused on a different craft element. So we'll talk about, character development. We'll talk about plot conflict versus emotional conflict, serialization. And then I go in there, but the guiding force of the whole class is always, you have to write things that you're passionate about through these characters. You have to make sure what you're doing is true to core for these characters. Why do you love them? Why is this the right character for you? All of that kind of stuff. And then I feel like a total hypocrite if I don't go home and sort of live by the same tenets. So it keeps me honest also. So I like that aspect of it, you know, and what they're able to do, the bravery they show on the page is always really inspiring. So it's good.
Yeah, you can get a little sneak peek of that Duke in the daylight in Gotham in that new talent showcase.
Yeah.
So I really hope it takes off. It's one of those ones where again, we tried really hard to make something organically new and that had its own place in Gotham as a book and all of that. And if it works, my hope is that it opens the door for a couple new characters that we have in mind for different mythologies around the DCU, and also gives new talent a chance to kind of come in and own those characters in a way that's, I think, singular to them.
So before we let you go, because I don't know, take you all night, keep you all night
we
here.
have so many questions for him.
Yeah, if you got questions,
Scott, I have a very important question for you.
Go for it.
First of all, Scott, are you a beer drinker?
I am. I'm more of a whiskey drinker, but I'll drink beer.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good answer, but that's not the question I asked Scott.
Bryce,
I am. Yes, I'm always happy with the beer.
So what's your go-to beer or
whiskey?
No, that's my next question. Don't spoil my next question.
Beer wise, I mean, I'm a Guinness guy. I love Guinness, and same thing. I'm an Irish whiskey guy. So Jameson. Anyone that knows me, they make that joke in the comics industry.
Oh. JMO Scott, they call you.
James for Christmas from everybody. That and Elvis stuff are usually their go-to gifts for me. So the best is when you get the Elvis decanter with James.
Thanks for all the JMO, Dan Didio. Okay, so next question.
You actually have a list.
Who win? Yeah, I just have. I'm starstruck, but am not at a loss for words. Who wins in a fight? The Batman who laughs or Cable?
Okay.
I'll go with the Batman who laughs.
Oh my goodness. Go. Oh, okay.
Let's a little explanation for Scott.
He's
here.
Bruce Wayne, though. That's the thing. He is Bruce Wayne, and I feel like, the thing I love about him, people think he's more the Joker, but he is. In issue 6, which I just finished doing the codas for at Metal, he has one of my favorite moments where he and Batman finally confront each other, and there's surprise in that fight also, which I think people will be happy about. But he says to him, he's like, "You'll never beat me because I'm you. I plan everything. I have, I have a secondary design for any kind of thing you can think of, but I think of all the evil possibilities as well." So he's almost like he's not this laughing, cackling, chaotic thing. He's this cold, calculating thing, and that's what I love about him. He's one of my favorite creations.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, one last question from me. Who wins, Scott Snyder versus the Court of Owls?
Well, we both win because I have equity in them.
Touche.
The court. Sir. The court's great, dude. I have such fun writing them, and to see other people pick them up in different platforms has been a real joy for me and Greg. We were just always like, if you use them, can we get to stand in the back in the masks and be part of the court and just do like smile and wave, do the horns, the rock horns.
A little bit in the Green Arrow.
Yeah. Well, Green Arrow comes in. We have plans for stuff after. Metal has a lot of hooks at the end, so I spent a lot of time over the last year looking at events from my childhood and also since, and reading everything, trying to do my homework while I was doing All-Star. All-Star was a place for me to be able to kind of play and get a little crazier with the character and look at him through these different angles. And then it also, just because I wasn't doing double ship and because I wasn't, heavily invested in the line as it was going, and I could just do my own thing, it gave me a chance to really do the homework I needed to do with Justice League and the events to get that scope and that sort of a feel for it. And one of the things that I really kept coming back to is the fun, that it needs to be sort of really immersive and bonkers, especially for a DC event. But also it needs to have consequences. So it's not something with Metal that I wanted to be like, and guess what? It ends with the death of Batman. That's not happening. So, you don't have to worry about it. But that said, I wanted to have big story engines. So it was always important to me from the beginning for it to expand the DC universe, to be additive as an event, to do things that will allow you to get to the last page and be like, holy shit, I had no idea they were going to go that way. And so those are my favorites. So I'm very, very proud of where we're headed. And I was saying, like, issue 6 is easily the Wild Hunt is probably the most bonkers thing I've ever been a part of, but issue 6 is the most bonkers things I've ever written by myself. The Wild Hunt is the one that I co-wrote with Grant, and it was like the best experience because we've become relatively close. I was friends over the last year plus, and but I've never had a chance to collaborate with him, and so working with him was like I gave him the outline for what I had for the Wild Hunt. 'Cause, I had sort of written up a draft, and then he took it, and it was like watching something translated into this kind of genius code language where you were like, it opened with Detective Chimp sort of as a circus monkey, a circus ape, not being able to learn the simple trick and being beaten for it, and then escaping and finding the fountain of youth and becoming a genius. And the issue ended with him realizing, or sort of not admitting this realization that ultimately, no matter how much you learn, you still feel like an ape that can't learn a simple trick because, the mysteries of the universe always kind of extend so far beyond the fractional knowledge you can gain. And it was very literal though. And I gave it to Grant, and that's just the bookends of the thing. And what came back was like Detective Chimp playing the accordion, and Rex the Wonder Dog comes to him and saves him, and the Metal Men are organ pipes. It's just great. It's like my favorite thing. It's so crazy what you see. And it all makes sense. Like it really, the logic of it holds, and to get to do something with him that kind of explored the multiversity and the great sort of landscape that he really concretized there was great. But it was a joy. But issue 6, for me at least, is sort of every kid moment that I've wanted, from Plastic Man to Hawkman to
you gave me Batman writing The Outsiders again, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we have ideas for them too, but it's like Batman riding a Joker dragon into a demon's face, and so it's definitely as metal as we could go, and I'm very, very grateful to everybody. I mean, I'll say this too, that we never expected metal to do what it's doing. I mean, I was hoping it would do well and it wouldn't tank, but there was a lot of initial hesitation with DC because it was so exuberant, I guess, or so.
Yeah, we're all making faces over here like tank. That's silly. That's a good one, Scott.
Scott Snyder, that unproven writer.
But it's different. I mean, in all seriousness, like, I was over doing All-Star and Greg had been gone, and there's also a sense of the line doing really well with Rebirth and the Double Ship, and we hadn't done an event cut from whole cloth so that it wouldn't be coming out of Batman, or it wouldn't be coming out. So there was a lot of hesitation, not that it wouldn't, no one thought that it would, sell zero, but there was a worry that it wouldn't sell the way an event should sell. And the fact that people came out the way they did for it and supported it, and the spirit of it, the fact that it's meant to sort of honor the classic, but then use the classic to kind of blast off into Kirby-esque, crazy new, really means a lot to me and Greg. I mean, and it's inspiring. I'll tell you this, like, this is not a spoiler, but it gives you a sense of what we're thinking. I mean, because of the way that people have supported metal, it's really inspired us to continue to sort of carry forward that ideology, maybe not quite as crazily as metal does, but the idea of building on what we've done with Rebirth, and it's one of the reasons that we've sort of embraced the new logo, the DC Universe logo. We're going to work hard to give that sort of explanation for the logo, real sort of articulation in the stuff that comes right at the end of metal and right afterwards. That this year, 2018, is really going to be about sort of showing you the ways in which, now that all the classic stuff is sort of is back, and the connective tissue is back, and that foundation is back, the DC universe is bigger and more terrifying and more wondrous and awesome than you thought. So we're working really hard on a lot of fronts for that. I'm sort of taking a bigger scope, I think, in that regard than I have before, looking outside of Batman, but looking at the characters across the board and trying to make sure that, with all the other creators, I mean, that each book is going as big as it can, and trying to sort of use a lot of the favorite classic stuff to get somewhere new. So we're really, really excited about what's coming post metal. So you'll hear about it really, really soon too. It's all coming. So yeah, I don't know. That was like way more than you asked. Sorry to go on.
Well, with
I get like lost in my own head.
Well, you're excited about it.
No, we're excited too. I mean, we talk a lot of shop talk here. One of the big things on this podcast, we talk sales, we talk how the store's doing and what's selling, and kind of a lot of the retailer end. And I mean, we talk constantly about the performance of metal is outside our wildest expectations as well. I went big thinking, okay, this is stupid. I'll end up wholesaling these, and we're selling through issues, which is just I never would have expected it.
We need other prints to come out of earlier one shots, because it's still in demand.
Yeah.
It's you guys are always. I mean, honestly, the fact that you guys are on the front lines and you showed such support and had midnight parties and that you handed out physically, it means a lot to us. So we're very, very great. If I could go to every store, I promise I would. I certainly send you anything signed or any of that stuff to auction off or any of it. I mean, it's been a hugely inspirational experience, and not just to be like, oh, sales and that stuff. I mean, really, because the spirit of it is important to us. I mean, it's meant to be a little bit daring, and it tries to create this whole new aspect to the DC universe and the dark multiverse, and new characters and sort of new villains and all this stuff. But it's also meant to be, a celebration of sort of how comics, not or escapist or anything like that, instead can be something that, for me, the story is deeply personal. I don't really go on about it publicly too much because it's the worst selling point ever, but it's really about those times when you look around and all you see are the worst versions of yourself, and the world around you, and everything seems like it's going back to darkness. And, the way through that for me as a kid, a lot of times, or when I was younger and even now, it was comics, or was big immersive storytelling. And so to be able to create something that's so bonkers and ludicrous like this, but isn't to sort of say, hey, forget about the world and forget about what's going on and forget about your problems. It feels that way when you get into it, but ultimately it's a story that's about how you use these kind of huge, larger than life pieces and characters and mythologies to actually to find your way through difficult challenges and to the other side, and why they can be inspiring in relevant ways. So I don't know. It means a lot that people bought in the way they bought in, because I don't feel like it was just, the fun, sexy stuff like the Batman who laughs. But the nicest messages we get are really about how it brought them back to sort of the big emotional joy of comics, because that's to me, or not even brought them back, but just, embrace that aspect of it, because that's what it's about for me, the event and all that stuff. And I don't know, that's what we're going for. So it means a lot, it really does. Like I really thought Batman would be the peak experience, at least the peak experience just emotionally with a character. But this has been the best experience for me creatively, ever. It's the most fun I've ever had writing. And then on top of that, the fact that people have responded the way they have is just, it's an inspiration, in return that way. So it sounds hokey, but it really is true. I swear.
Well, between Metal and Doomsday Clock, I've never seen excitement for events like this. And even if you want to call Doomsday Clock an event, but just the event-like kind of excitement around these titles is unprecedented.
What do you see what Bendis is going to do? It's crazy.
Yeah, we're very excited.
It's great, man. We're really, I promise, like summer is going to be nuts fun. It's going to be so crazy. Both with the stuff, I'm taking on new things at DC, and what he has planned is fantastic. And there's a lot of new projects coming around then. So we're really, really, I don't know. I give Jim and Dan especially a lot of credit, just because I feel like it'd be easy to sort of have the wind at your back and then play it safe. Do more, bring back characters
take a risk.
That are safe. Right. Why bother? Like, just keep doing Rebirth, because I think one of the things that's sort of that's almost deceptive about Rebirth is that so much of it, looks like it's celebrating the past, and it is. But there's a lot of really new stuff that's being created in there, and I think the message of Rebirth, that it's largely about kind of connecting to the past, but also celebrating the present has been really well received. But I think the thing that we need to do now is sort of use that and go way into the new and just, keep going without raising anything, without destroying anything of the past whatsoever. That's never something that, I would support. So but I think what we have in summer is really into fall is that, what Tom has planned is really great with the whole engagement and where that goes, and what Brian has planned, Bendis has planned. And honestly, there's a lot of special stuff coming. So I'm excited. Look, I'm not a shill for DC. I swear. I have my car back. I do my Image books. I always have my, but
where's the American Vampire, man?
Well, I'm bringing it back at the end of 2018 because they're doing a big push with a new Vertigo titles and classic Vertigo titles, and just they've posted that. I think it's safe to say because they've posted the 8/8/18 at cons, but so we're going to be a part of that with American Vampire. So I'm very, very excited about that. But we got Witches. So I'm just saying, when I was not proud of some of the things that, not embarrassed by, but just in disagreement with some of the things that DC that were going on at DC, during the New 52 at times, I didn't go out there and say, well, I think it's the best time for DC and that stuff at those times. But since Rebirth, there's been this building excitement, and this time, honestly, right now, is easily the most fun I've ever had at DC and the most collaborative we've all been. We have summits now. It's really, we have a big plan. We have a big plan, which is why we have that DC Universe label and all of that for 2018 into 2019. And you'll see, you'll see when it starts to, be, when we start to put out,
come to fruition.
Make it. Yeah, when we start to make it public in the spring with May and all that kind of stuff that is coming with Pre-Comic Book Day and all that. So,
Scott, I have a very important question for you.
Can't wait.
I thought you were done asking him questions.
When you another one, it just came to mind. He keeps on giving me more fodder. When you had your interview with Higgins, you mentioned that you're a father. I believe you said you had a kid or two. When you go to out in public and your kids are just, I don't know, maybe your kids are too old, but some of us have young kids here, and you go out and you're like, your kids are just being nightmares because everybody's kids are nightmares. Do you ever just want to just look at them and just be like, I write Batman. You are killing me. Everybody else finds my opinion to be so important and matter, and you are like crying about nothing.
That's actually my exact line. Right before I walk away and leave them. Yeah, no, it's funny because I've been, my little one still almost thinks that I go to the Batcave and talk to Batman, or go to the Hall of Justice and talk to the Justice League, and
that's pretty awesome. How old is your youngest one?
He's 6. It was really funny. We just went to Ace Comic-Con because my wife's best friend really wanted to meet Henry Cavill, so we went, and it was fun to go meet everybody and sign and that stuff. But she was dying to meet the Justice League, so we went and we got in to meet them, and we took a picture with Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill, and my 6-year-old was standing there, and Gal Gadot knelt down and to talk to him. She was very sweet, and she was just like, "Hi," and he was like, "I can't talk right now. I'm taking a picture with Wonder Woman." Which I thought he didn't quite get it, and she thought it was hilarious. It was really great, but just
oh my god,
that's Henry Cavill was really funny too.
That photo you posted online, I was like, I'm beyond jealous. I'm jealous for both parties at that point.
You're jealous whenever Scott posts something.
I was like,
you said you would kill me because I was going to read Metal 4 before you.
How does Rhode Island get the entire cast of Justice League to show up for a convention? What's going on? How does California not have this? What's wrong with us?
I don't know. And I gotta say, their line was insane, obviously, and they had already been there a long time, and they kind of snuck us in, and they were so sweet. And they know comics. Henry knew comics. He knew Jay Fabok. He knew, who I was and what I had done. He was so charming about all of it.
That's cool.
It was really nice to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Just like Superman. Charming.
He was very well. I wish they would let some of that charm out a little bit more in the movies, just because he's actually quite. He's very disarmingly grounded and very Clark Kent-ish, but not in the goofy way. He's just an earnest dude who you talk to him for a second. He's very engaging and sweet. So and so is she. I mean, but it comes through for her, I think, as Wonder Woman. But I think him, sometimes there's a certain sort of distancing that happens with him as Superman, in the movie. So I hope they let that shine through a bit more.
We have very strong opinions on Justice League, both on the DC movies, both pro and con at this table. So, but we all are hopeful for the future. We all want to love these movies, and even the ones that like the movies, we know there's room for improvement. So I think I'm excited to see where the next handful of movies go. If they've learned some lessons.
I'm hopeful. I mean, I certainly, again, like when I haven't liked some of the stuff that's come out at times, I try to just not, I don't really, I try and find something that I enjoyed about anything when I see anything and say something, but, I don't, say anything particularly negative about anything that I read comic wise or see, just cause I've just had that as a tenet since I was young. I just try and focus on the stuff that I think deserves more attention. But it was nice to go see Justice League and have my kid. I went with my 10-year-old Jack, and I kept looking at him because Superman Batman was too dark for him. I tried to take him, and he from the minute it started, he just was uncomfortable. And so with this, I was looking at him, and he gave me the thumbs up. He was like, he likes the Flash. He thought the Flash was awesome. And it was great. It was a really good feeling that he wanted to go out and get Justice League stuff afterwards.
Nice.
So that's a big win for I think us and the movie and all of it.
Well, it doesn't matter what a bunch of old nerds think. As long as, the kids are the important ones, right? They're the future. They're the ones that are going to make these things last forever, right? So we can sit here, we sit here and have argued about these things for probably thousands of hours at this point. But, I think it's important when the younger kind of generation gets into it. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
they got our money,
the thing, it's funny. I'm working on this thing with Sean also, the kind of Batman book that we're doing that sort of it spans like a number of years in the Batman mythos.
The Sean Murphy book, right?
So the Sean Murphy book. So those are my two. I have two big projects this year at DC. I'm taking on something, and then like in the main thing, and then I'm doing this book with Sean, and in that way, the book with Sean is really sort of spans Batman's whole mythos, our version of Batman. So it goes from the beginnings of when he sort of took on the mantle to the end of his life in that way. And so one of the things that's interesting is, like you're saying, it's really trying to focus on this idea about how every generation, or not even generation, but every sort of readership has its own Batman, over time, and why, how these characters get reinvented and why they're important. But just for me, the most exciting thing is always when you see somebody take the character and do something that you'd never expect, and it feels young and fresh and all of that. So I hope what they do with the Batman movie, all that stuff is, something like that. I would always rather see something completely crazy and young. I mean, I would really even like that. I remember thinking that did you ever see the Batman Strikes cartoon? The Batman, it was like the Batman. It was not sort of like, it followed, the animated series. So it was sort of immediately, trashed when it came out, and then it really gained steam. And I thought it came into its own after a while, but it posited it imagined like a 25-year-old Bruce, in Gotham, coming back, and he was kind of like fumbling. And, he didn't know what he was doing, and there were different characters, and some of the stuff didn't work, but the ballsiness of sort of how they just tried to make him young and relevant and all that stuff was so exciting that, that's the kind of stuff I love when what Grant was able to do just over and over and over again. But when a creator comes in, what Tom is now doing with the Catwoman stuff, but really I hope that's what the DCEU embraces, is that sense of a really new version of Batman. And I don't mean that if they my assumption is that they're going to, if they do something that's early years Batman, for the Batman movie, if they do something in the present, of course you continue with Ben Affleck and, make that great. But I mean, if they do that kind of early years take, I'd be really excited for that too.
Well, I think what's worked great with the DC Comics is such a long history of like Elseworlds and kind of alternate tales. standalone stories that if the movies wanted to approach that same level of release schedule, I think it would work fine. Marvel's pretty gung-ho with their continuity of their movies, but it sounds like even they're going to do something a little different past Avengers 4. So, I think it's a lot to rope in for these big movies. I think the Marvel movies succeeded almost, it's so hard to pull that off. And, I think there's a lot of potential for just some cool standalone movies from DC. And if they want to connect them, that's cool too. I'd love to see it happen, but, I think
the whole trajectory of superhero movies in the last 10, 15 years has been so interesting and so exciting. Where first you prove they can work, and that the technology is there now to make them sort of immersive in a new way, and then you start bringing them together, the characters, you create this shared universe, and then you have to, ultimately you have to refresh it. And the thing that I think is interesting about what Marvel is doing is they have such a brilliant way of sort of making each movie so unique and singular to that character, where they're willing to go way into R-rated, hilarity for Deadpool, and then go completely, humorous and teenage for Thor, or for Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and then my 6-year-old loved Homecoming, Spider-Man, and the fact that they can span that sort of the breadth of their characters that way, and each movie is so well designed for that character particularly is so impressive. I've loved that aspect of it. So yeah.
All right. I think that's it. Is that the end of our episode?
I don't know.
Scott, do you have a question for us? Do you want to? I mean, you've pimped a lot of stuff. Do you got anything you want to tell the fans before we're about to go off here?
Well, yeah, I'd ask you just for me, outside of present company, obviously, and big stuff that you already know about, what are some of the books that you really enjoyed in 2017 that kind of flew under the radar a bit?
Oh, well, that's actually good, because the next episode we're recording is our end of year list. I don't know if our too many of these flew under the radar. Yeah. I have to admit, we had moved the store a little while ago. I've been extremely busy. My independent reading has been less than I would prefer this year. It's real bad. So there's a lot of books that are in my to-read pile that I have not read. So some of the bigger books, I try to keep up on a lot of the Marvel and DC stuff, but the under-the-radar books have been a little, I guess, you were talking about Young Animal before. I love all the Young Animal books. I kind of fell off a couple of them, but Shea the Changing Girl is still one of my favorites. And Doom Patrol, I wish it came out a little more regularly, but I think the Young Animal stuff is not getting the exposure that it should, and I really hope that Milk Wars crossover coming up.
Yeah.
With Frank Quitely, amazing, those covers. I'm so looking forward to that.
My favorite was Infamous Iron Man. I highly recommend you guys pick up that guy, whoever was writing that.
I heard he's got some big plans coming up. So,
what about Marvel DC stuff too? If you for me, I think some of the books that I flew under the radar a little bit. I thought what Dan Abnett was doing with Aquaman was great, and that didn't always get the most attention. I think, because Batman and other books can be noisy. I think Flash doesn't always get quite as much credit, but it's what Josh has been able to do with that has been great. And what the Benson sisters were doing with Birds, I thought was really strong. I don't know. And over at Marvel, I think some of the books that maybe got less attention. I think honestly, it's been good for so long. Charles's Daredevil, I think, sometimes flies under the radar with Ron, and I think that's been terrific.
Yes, I agree. That has been terrific, and is a lesser generated positive opinion on this podcast. Hey,
I love Daredevil. I just,
do you?
I do. So I've been wanting to jump back in since the Mayor Fisk stuff. So that's definitely one. Again, more books on my stack. I've been trying to catch
the
up
whole
on a few
issue that's come
before
out.
the end of the year.
Looking to jump in?
No, isn't there
2 issues?
2 issues?
Number 2 came out.
I think
Scott, I really want to know your opinion on Al Ewing. This is a very divisive character, or not character, but you know what I mean. On this podcast, some people on the podcast.
He's gonna, of course.
I expect a very diplomatic answer. Sure. What I'm actually looking for is what you can tell us about. He did some very big cosmic related stuff with Ultimates 2. I'm not sure if you could comment on anything that if you were able to catch up or keep up on any of the Al Ewing cosmic related stuff that he did, because he also did some stuff this year that was not cosmic related, but the stuff that he did with Ultimates 2 was pretty good. And so, he certainly flew under the radar.
To explain the joke a little bit here before
it's not a joke.
I mean, no, but also to explain the joke. The joke has been that Al Ewing is going to leave and go do Legion of Superheroes for DC, and Bryce is going to jump off a building when that happens. So
that's not true. I follow Tom.
No, there are no plans that I know of for that. There are no plans that I know of for that. But
don't take it away from me.
I know who Al. I know who Al is, and I'm trying, but I'm not. I haven't been keeping up with a lot of the stuff that he's done recently, but I've heard good things.
Ultimates and Ultimates 2 are really good. You should read those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If you're looking for that big cosmic stuff, that's the best stuff Marvel's doing with that big kind of cosmic feel these days.
Yeah, for some reason I don't know. I think it's just Metal and the stuff that I want to do after. It's just. Being on Batman for so long, it's so grounded, and then by the end I was getting a little wackier with it, but ultimately then having the whole DCU at your disposal when you're on something like Metal, from everybody from, Starro makes a really big appearance in 4, which is my favorite scene, actually. Nice. So, I don't know, I might have gone too far with him, but I love it. He's just like a shit talking, you'll see. But he talks in those psychic balloons, so he has no mouth, but he just talks shit constantly, which I love. But when you have all of it at your disposal, you just suddenly, it just reminds you of how much fun it was as a kid when it was like, you heard lines that were like, all right, you're going to shove the Anti-Monitor's cosmic brain through the Rock of Eternity and blow the Dark Multiverse up. Or, in 6, there's equal craziness. Or even in 4, there is. So
someone actually asked us
coming out next week.
Someone asked us a question about this a little while ago. The Anti-Monitor's cosmic brain. Is this something we should be aware of? Where did this come from? Is this just you're like, this makes sense?
Well, he was slain in Darkseid War,
right.
So I was asking about his body, and the sort of internal consensus was that he's made of energy,
sure.
of antimatter, of antimatter, and so therefore everything in him is sort of can be contracted, expanded. But it is essentially energy kept in that shell. So he would have an anatomy, but it would be astral almost. So you could do kind of a cosmic autopsy on him. So that's when I was like, well, his brain. So I was sort of, it got approved. I mean, I have to, there's still like a system.
You gotta call Jeff Johns and say, okay, explain this to me. How does this work?
You do, and I called Grant about like Darkseid Baby and that stuff. So it's like, just making sure that it makes sense. I'm telling you, like, you have it's like having a degree in comic book science at a certain like.
Well, when I read I thought, cosmic brain, sure, yeah, whatever, that makes sense. I just kept reading, but like I had a couple of questions about that for the podcast, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe it came from something and I just missed it, but no, I mean, it's Anti-Monitor. That works. Yeah, sure.
I accept that.
We have to have all that stuff approved. Where it's funny where it was like, because there's a whole sort of secret periodic table or hierarchy to the metals, which we've hinted at times. I think it was in the Forge and the casting, but it was sort of like the nth metal is ninth metal, which is what it was called when it was first introduced in Hawkman. It was before it was called nth metal, it was called ninth metal.
Right.
And then, so eighth metal is the metal of the gods, the earthly gods, and seventh metal is some of the stuff that gets used in different corruptible forms by the owls and all this stuff. Like it's responsible for radium and different stuff.
I'm just needing a poster.
10th metal is like Element X and that stuff. So it's out there. So, the Kirby stuff.
We need posters. We need a poster.
Scott, I'm dying.
Yeah.
Scott.
I'm just too busy being reminded of when Ryan would spend an entire podcast just explaining Final Crisis to us.
Yeah. All right, here's an hour and a half of what Final Crisis issue 7 means.
This is after him Wikipediaing, reading articles, reading it 3 times, and then redoing all of that again.
Bryce, I love that.
No, Scott,
I love that event. So
I got to know. What is the beeping in the background? Is it a rice cooker? I am convinced it's a rice
dishwasher.
Cooker. Oh,
I'm sorry. The dishwasher. I didn't even realize. I have my headphones on, so I can't hear it. They're like,
I won. I had dishwasher in the appliance lottery.
Nobody else thought that.
Yeah, sorry, the dishwasher keeps when it's finished.
But I was wondering, it's so late there. I was wondering if you're doing some midnight sushi.
Just a bat phone. I mean, that's the commissioner's calling.
The bat phone makes a much louder noise.
Sorry,
it goes like
it is a bat phone. So
actually, nowadays it's like got some AI, so it's like Scott, please pick up. Scott, please pick up.
Yeah, no, it's just it was a big Christmas night here, so yeah.
It's in my voice.
All right, well, Scott, it's been a pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always great talking to you guys, honestly. So I didn't mean to crash your party, but I'll happily do it again.
Crash our party anytime.
Yeah. Scott, how are you such a big celebrity and you find time to talk to guys like us? Like, what's going on here?
Honestly, I enjoy it. I mean, you write comics like you're literally alone in the house all the time. So anytime you get a chance to talk, you're like, I'm human. Here I am. So, yeah, my wife used to make fun of me because when I went into the office when it was back in New York before it moved out to the lot in Burbank. I'd get so excited to go in and talk to them and commute. And she was like, you have like your fake briefcase with nothing in it on the train. And you're like, I'm a commuter. Look at me. Like, hello. So.
You get mugged on the subway and you're just like, go
like
have
just 5 copies of Batman in your.
It is. That's literally that's a full briefcase. So. No, it's a pleasure. And we should do it again soon.
Yeah. Well, when Metal's over and whatever the next stuff coming up, we'll have to have a chat again and we'll see how Metal wrapped up, and we'll talk again.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Yep. All right, I'll sign off. Bye, guys.
Thanks,
bye.
Scott. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some Patreon backers that we want to thank. You know what's really important to the Comics Conspiracy podcast? Our Patreon backers. Higgins supplies us with pizza. Not tonight. Or
I'm taking you out for dinner after this.
I got some chips.
Yeah, well, TBD. After this is done, you might not take me out to dinner.
That's true.
No water.
Let's see what else here. Okay, so
thank you for your $1.37, by the way.
Oh yes, are we going to talk about that?
Yeah, fuck that Patreon uppage.
I hope it's not. I think it's not going to go through.
No,
there's been too much vitriol. There's been too much blowback.
Backlash from it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you might call it vitriol or blowback. We want to thank some. Actually, we want to thank all, but we want to thank some more than others because they are extra contributors to our Patreon account. I would like to start with a gentleman named Julian. I should probably go faster. Okay. Julian Titus with the Nerds Without Pants podcast.
No pants.
That wasn't the Toby voice. Come on.
No pants.
No pants, eh? At pixelbit.com. Julian, thank you so much for your support. Ryan Hesse with the Blowhards podcast.
It's a video game podcast. Okay. Remember the old NES cartridges? You blow on them? You're not supposed to do that.
I mean, I know, I get it. I was just trying to. I was hoping that we had a Toby equivalent for that, but maybe not. You can find them on at blowhards.libsyn.com. This whole time, I'm sitting in front of Higgins' laptop. I've thought this whole time that it was Libsyn.com, as in the fucking T, Libsyn. It's Libsyn, blowhards.libsyn, LIBSYN.com. This whole time, you could have been like quadrupling his downloads.
Liberated syndication, I believe is what it's
Everybody is going to blowhards.thisspecialty.com, and it's libsyn.com. Anyway, Jody Lawson with the Canon and Triad Comics Anthology at triadcomicstudios.com. Thank you, Jody, so much. I have nothing clever to say about Jody. Also, special thanks to Manoa Place, Sam Shea, Talon Bray, Craig Anderson, who is that guy, and Joe Duff. No relation to the famous beer. You look like you want to say something, Mr. Higgins.
Can I also give a plug here for one of our top tier backers. That's our good friend Albert Soy, who's back with his new app called Canby. We talked about it earlier in this episode, but let me do the official plug here. Canby is about connecting customers with their favorite retailers like Comics Conspiracy. Seamlessly integrating loyalty program with prepaid, I'll try that again, and gift cards into one mobile app. How easy is that? Make purchases and earn points towards several special rewards. There's a reason I don't do this professionally. Try out the services and support your local retailers like Comics Conspiracy. Thank you, Albert. Use Canby here at Comics Conspiracy.
You do have a face for radio, Mr. Higgins.
I do. Done it.
So
Nailed it.
Can we also thank, very special thanks, because this is actually, a serious contribution that we all appreciate, and it helps me explaining to my wife why I can come back. Although I'll take that back if that means that you're going to stop subscribing to the Patreon. We want to thank Dennis Janssen, the famous Ajax supporter. Don't know what you're doing supporting Ajax instead of Liverpool, but Dennis, we appreciate the tweets of Ajax. I should probably go faster. Also, big thanks to Samurai Godzilla, a random capital Z in there. Alex McHale, Matthew Schnapp, not related to the Schnapps, David Baroldi, Don Kilson. Sorry, guys, this is my first time doing this. If that wasn't obvious, Mark Long, Michael Zakvek, Ivan Liskanik. Ivan is not a fan of Bryce. Brian Murawski, Miles Gakula, Rich Guerra, Matthew Holmes, Paula Schultz, Mark Smith, Blake Etheridge. There's a lot of gentlemen on here. We need to do more outreach to the female community. Keith Amaral, David Polanco, Christopher Noyes. Christopher, how excited are you for Thursday, my man? Kevin Nguyen, David Safar, Tyler Willits, $5. Come on, Tyler, you're our biggest fan. Rob Bendixson, Chris Freeman, Mike Conrad, Arbin. Wait, I'm not sure that you're telling me that we have so many $5 Patreon backers, Higgins. Mike Conrad, Honorbon Bonergy, Honorbin, you tricky name.
Face group. Tell him how he's
Amanda Penman Crone, Christopher Stone, Thad Gutschlaw. Thad Gutschall. Sorry. Seriously, trying to get this right. Sid Comics, Timothy, Chris Lockhart. I had no idea there were so many. Corey.
I told you.
Jesus Christ, Corey. Corey Schimoller, Aaron Wright, Father Dante, Garen Dunbar, Brian Wilson, Nick Harrison, Chris. When I offered to do this Patreon thing, Higgins was like, please do the Patreon thing. I thought, what could go wrong? I was wrong. Chris Palaki, Kevin Ellis, Chris Olivas, Christina Tatone, Wally Ansari, Nicolas Zapas, Mario Miranda, Chris Kim, Bob.
His name's not Bob, is it?
Bob Leonard, Chris Bunch, Gordon McKenzie, J.R. Barak, Stephen Hayden, Edgar Moreno, Andrew Kushieri. What can I say except thank you for everybody. And I also want to say one last thing. You can find us everywhere. Your comic hilarity. By the way, I just want to say I didn't mean any offense. I hope that you'll forgive my mispronunciation of your name.
Any offense? Your brain is already thinking of how can we get Toby to do this outro.
Oh my god!
Oh, that would be the best.
That would be incredible.
Patreon,
I've never heard Brock's laugh through these headphones. That is something else.
$10.
You can find us here at the Comic Conspiracy, no S in comic. ComicConspiracyPodcast.com and Geekbox.net and on iTunes. Please rate and review us. You know what really helps this podcast? Reviews on iTunes. 5 stars. Mention that Bryce is awesome. Or just that the general podcast is awesome. That's also a good 5-star review for you. The Comics Conspiracy at Geekbox.net or on the contact form. I'm pretty sure Higgins just hasn't updated that because who's going to the contact form? You can find us also at patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy. 2 C's, Comic Conspiracy. No S, not Comics Conspiracy.
Jesus, people are so confused. Just spell it out.
I will not do that. It is. You can also find us if you're looking to buy comics online at digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. If you are looking to buy comics online and you are like, you know what, I'm going to go to Comixology. I'm going to buy some comics online. Wrong. If you're on an iPhone, which 51% of you and the handsomer of you are, you're not going to find a way to buy comics on the app.
Bryce, everybody has to buy it through their PC for us to get a cut.
I actually did it on my phone, so that's 100% wrong. But you do have to go to the browser. So you have to go to the browser on your phone or on your computer at digital.comicsconspiracy.biz, and then you buy your stuff and Higgins gets his nickel, and you get to go ahead and purchase whatever you want. You can go to conspiratorBrock.com for Brock's pull list. You can go to Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension. If only Charlie would post a picture of himself today in his 6-foot-long trench coat that is brown and looks like he is, just came out of a TARDIS. Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast. You can go to etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art. You might not find a lot of new art on that Etsy site because Leanne has been busy getting 999 stars on Mario Odyssey. Get it, girl. Otherwise, you can follow us on Twitter. Ryan Higgins is Ryan Higgins Ryan. Brock is Brock Sager. Your handsome co-host, Bryce Larsen, is Larsen Bryce. That's Larsen with an E-N, Bryce with a Y. That has never been correctly said before. I assume that's what's holding me back from getting dozens of followers. Toby, who was, not here, but he's hilarious when he is here, is at TobyXI. Charlie is at the very obvious handle of Insanity and Chaos. If you're looking for the Higgins Bags and Board Twitter account, that is under Higgins Loves Marvel, which is a weird Twitter handle. If you're looking for just the store in general, that is Comics Con Store. You can follow us in everything that we do on the Geek Box, which you won't hear any new episodes until January, but it's still a great listen. The Comedy Button, which you won't hear any new episodes until at least probably much longer than January, but it's still a good listen. Oh, no, wait, sorry. Comedy Button's still going. I meant the next one. Good Job, Brain. Good Job, Brain is the one that you will not be hearing any new episodes in the near term. You can also go to the All Talk podcast and Manga Machinations and the Infinite Binge podcast, which are all extremely good. And I would love to tell you at length about how good they are, but I am not familiar with any of those. I'm sure that they are very good. In the meantime, listen, what I need you to do is appreciate the fact that if you're listening to this, especially Patreon supporters, Higgins got you Scott Snyder, okay? Nobody can get to Scott Snyder like Higgins can. You got to hear from one of the titans of industry in the comics world because of Mr. Higgins. You should support him, whether it's by buying comics digitally from him, physically in the store, or supporting him on Patreon.
We can do mail order too.
Giving Bryce high fives on Twitter. Thank you very much to everyone for listening. We appreciate all the support. We literally could not do it without you. Thank you very much, and we will see you next, air quotes, week.